Hello.
Good morning.
Top of the morning to you.
Cheerio.
Carla, can I make you a co-host and you can let people in
Yes.
after we get started? And Lily too, if you don't mind, if you're in a place, like, make a co-host real quick. Nate. Hey, what's up, Nate? Okay. I'll make you a co-host here too.
Alrighty.
All right. Carla and Lily are co-hosts, and they're going to help out getting people in too as well.
Okay.
Excelente. Cool. All right, people. Well, it's 11 o'clock Monday morning, holiday morning. People are still jumping on. We'll give them an extra minute. It's okay.
Le digo a mi esposo, mira, le dije a Ana, ya anda hablando inglés y la escuchó y dice a mi esposo,
How's everyone doing, by the way? Are we excited for the Monday for this holiday week?
yes.
Yeah.
So as we're kind of waiting for people to get on, so I don't have a call schedule for Wednesday and obviously Thursday and Friday. Do you guys want to? Oh no, Thursday. I have it on Wednesday. Excuse me. I don't have it for Thursday and Friday. Do you guys want to call on Friday, or should we just leave that for the shopping, or what do you guys think? Is there enough interest to make it to do it?
I'd be fine with doing it. I think that sounds like a good idea. Keep going.
I agree.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. I apologize.
Well, how dare you? First of all, no, I'm just kidding.
I know.
Pay attention. Yeah, they're not just kidding.
How dare
I
no,
need to show up on time.
it's I'm a minute late and you don't hear me right now. It's if we should do a call on Friday or not. So we're obviously not doing it on Thursday, but on Friday,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why not?
Okay.
Yes. Thanksgiving's just a weird eating with your family kind of holiday. It's just eating. It's my least favorite holiday, actually.
My favorite thing to do in life is eat. So it's like this is the best holiday. What are you talking about? This
Get
is
some,
awesome.
Tubby. Get it.
Right. That is exactly right. Okay. Great. Now we're getting some bodies in here. That's good.
Hey, Jared,
Yes,
how
sir.
do I get to speak? How you doing? Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Your name?
How do you get to what?
Oh, I guess I got him to speak. I'm not really familiar with Zoom, as you guys know. I'm very not techie. But anyways, I was able to get on today, Jared. So,
Awesome.
and I watched all those classes that I missed over the weekend.
Nice.
Man, it's working out. I'm getting confidence with talking to people.
That's good.
Great.
Oh, yeah. I do have an update. So I was using, you guys ever use Fiverr? Like
Like Google Fiber?
no, sorry. No, I meant like or Fiverr, like where you
Oh, Fiverr.
pay
Yes,
people to
I
do
have.
certain things for you or whatever.
Yes, I have.
So I sent these videos over like for the negotiation. They're supposed to get like really cool captions and edit a little more, but I haven't really, they gave it back to me this weekend and it wasn't like great. So I'm just gonna have to do it myself, which is gonna be, so we'll have, all the videos should be up and ready.
Let's unlock your phone.
I didn't say, hey, Google. Anyways, so I'll have the rest of the videos up, like the negotiates up either late today or, dude,
Workspace to
phone, what are you doing? Holy hell. And another question, who's really good at Google Sheets or Excel?
I'm okay with Excel. I've used it a lot for leads and stuff.
Yeah, same. I'm okay at
I'm
it.
assuming you're talking about putting formulas
My
and
dad's a
stuff like that.
genius.
Yeah.
You talking about putting formulas in?
Yes, I guess I muted myself in accident. Yes, like formulas and just setting up. So I've been trying to work getting the cool Excel sheet where everyone can plug in their numbers and we can keep track of who's up and whatnot. And I've been hitting brick walls. So if anybody's actually really good at it, because I'm okay at it and I can figure stuff out, but
So
I
you're
have
just
a
looking
work-
for doing summations, or what sort of what are you
yes,
trying
so
to?
summations, but also like having the leaderboard that so one tab's gonna have a leaderboard, other tab's gonna be able to plug in all the information in.
Oh, so you got to carry calculations from sheet to sheet. So you're gonna
Yeah,
have a sheet with everybody in there, and then you're gonna have
Mhm.
another sheet which has a sort of
the leaderboard kind of thing, and I know
leaderboard.
we can do even graphics. That'd be really cool too, where it's like I know there's ways of doing it. I'm looking at YouTube to really learn, but it's like
Oh.
yeah, there's some cool stuff you can do. It's taking longer than I expected. That's all. It's okay.
I don't know how I don't know how to do graphics. I mean, I can add up columns and subtract and divide, and
Right? Yeah.
I'll call up amounts from different cells, but you start getting into
Fancy. I'm probably
I've never done any graphics before, so yeah, the charting and stuff like that. What? Yeah, I mean,
okay.
is that
Yeah.
where you're struggling with? Is on the chart?
Yes.
Is on the charting? Yeah.
Yes. I think I'm just trying to go
Yeah.
too fancy, but it's okay.
You're my go-to. If you
Bare
don't have
bones.
it, I don't know what to tell you. I always call you.
Yeah. AI's been helping. It's not been as helpful. Anyways, okay. So what?
Sharon, let's
yes, go
sync
ahead.
up and see if I can help.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do that. Okay, guys. What has been some of your takeaways from week one? Has everyone contacted their accountability partner?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
What was that last? So most people have. Does anybody have not? That's a better way to put it. And have you been having any troubles contacting them? Because there was a couple that didn't have their number in the Google sheet where it's all in there.
I've reached out, but I've had no response back.
She's not reached out back. I talked to her. Did you? No. Okay.
No, she's not responded back. No.
Okay. I'll talk to her again, and then if not, I'll just get you someone else.
I got a good one. We got punishments aligned and everything. Got a
Nice.
structured
Nice.
plan for the week and everything. It's good.
I love it. So you have your goals, you have your punishments, you have your rewards set up.
Yeah, no rewards. I guess we just figure if we got something in a contract, that's a reward.
That's fair.
We gotta take each other for lunch if one of us doesn't meet our quota.
Nice. What if you both don't meet your quota or your goals?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Which should be extra bad, right?
Yeah.
You gotta buy me lunch. And I eat a lot. Wow.
There we go.
That's it.
We both
There you
gotta chip in and buy you something.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
I have the same issue. Well, it's not an issue, but he hasn't responded back. So if you have a lady that you can pair me with, that would be great.
Okay.
I got my partner, Martha, and but I'm also like calling other people and see what they're doing.
That's I love that. You guys I hope you guys took notes what Carla just said. Like if have your accountability partner, but also network with everyone in here, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Carla, if you ever want to give me a call, go ahead.
Awesome. I got everybody's permission though.
I contact mine and we talk. We had a good chat, and we put our challenge, our goals, and also we talk about the property. I send it to you, and you call in, and I talk to him about that. And
Nice.
yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm doing. I met a lot of people and doing relationships.
No, that's where it's at, guys. Like seriously, I love that. And make sure and don't let each other off light. You know, hold each other accountable. We don't need to be jerks about it, but we definitely need to be firm. You know, treat them as if you want to be how you've been treated. Like think if like you're almost talking to the future self and you know your potential. You know, and all you had to do is certain things to realize your full potential. What kind of conversations would you have with yourself? Those type of conversations you have with each other, right?
Let's be honest, you have worse conversations with yourself than you do anywhere else.
Well, sorry, one more time, Carl. What was that?
You have worse conversations with yourself than you do other people.
Mm-hmm.
You're harder on yourself than you are other people.
Sure.
I think that could be somewhat misleading though, because we're on this phone call, so we have accountability. So if that was entirely true, we'd all be making deals. So just saying.
Yes, but what he's saying is like you're harder on yourself than anyone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to say. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Which is good and bad at the same time, right? It's make sure that we're not defeating, but like you can do it, kind of a thing, right?
You can be a complete a-hole to yourself, and you're extremely nice to other people.
Yeah. Well, and if the key to this, honestly, if you think about it, is turning your shoulds into musts. If every time you think I should, if you change that to a must, your life will change. I should, you know what? Right now, I really should make that phone call. Yeah, oh shoot, I really should reach out to that seller. I really should talk to Carl. I really should reach out to my battle buddy. I really should. And if all of those things were changed to, oh, I must make those calls right now. It's that time. Okay, cool. I must actually follow my sacred time.
As Kendall says all the time, you quit shitting all of yourself.
Yeah, you could should all over yourself all day long, but nothing's gonna happen. You turn those into should, into must, and that's a Tony Robbins thing. And it's not my creation, but yeah, turn your shoulds into musts. I mean, it's powerful, powerful.
I'm so excited. I'm waiting about an hour, and I'll have a yes or no on someone buying the house.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. With Jeremy's.
Yeah, just 1 hour.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm excited.
Crossing fingers. Love it, love it. Cool, guys. What questions do we have so far about what we've talked about in the calls? Any challenges you guys coming up with as you're going through? I know this was in the calendar. It came up as making the cold calls and getting going. So do you have any questions about that or anything else?
Yeah, right. I had a good experience with Lupe. We went drive for dollar and we got maybe like 25 to 40 houses. We picked a really good neighbor and we was like no stopping, notes or addresses. Yeah. Then we went back to the office and started doing the partial viewer to get the owners. But this is what we ran into it. And I didn't realize that until later when I was talking to my husband. So we got the addresses, we got the owner of the house. Then we were getting ready to, okay, now let's go find the phone numbers. Right. And then when we realized, it's like, hey, we got the number, the address, but that doesn't mean that the owner lives there. So then we were like, oh, okay, so now we have to actually go find where the owner lives because we don't want to get in contact with the tenant. We want to get in contact with the owners of the house to see if they want to sell. So that is something that we kind of like figured out after.
So, what's your mode of contact? Are you guys sending out mailers? Are you doing phone calls, or what's your?
So we want to do like sending mails, but also contact them. So we was like kind of checking first the address so we can send out some letters. But then also we are looking now our next steps to find the phone numbers on the family tree now, the website that you share.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, then we were so excited about writing down the addresses and the owner, but then it's like, hey, no, that is not where the owner lives. And then now what?
Yeah.
So yeah, we got into.
Gotcha. So, in the county records, it'll usually have a mailing address. Okay, so that you have this physical address and mailing address. If the owner doesn't live there, but they're getting their mail to their personal address, that's the address you want to use. That's probably where they live. Second, if you can't find it, let's say it's the same and it's one of the property that looks really, really vacant, I would still send the mailer to that address at least. It's just whether they pick it up or, I mean, it's better than nothing as far as the shot goes, right? So if you're not finding it through the mailing address or the parcel lookup, or sometimes even with Family Tree now, it has the most relevant properties, and it may have one the most relevant ones. So for example, where should we see it? Let's see. Do you by chance happen to have that list at the ready? Like, do you have some sellers? Was it Anna or no? Who was talking?
It was Magali, but hold on one second. Hold on, I do have it. It's only that we are in the middle of nowhere right now in Colorado.
Oh yeah, not that's
driving.
Fine. That's no worries. But
Colorado
I can
City.
use different examples.
Yeah, we'll give you one of the address in a minute.
So Family Tree now, let's just say, I mean, we'll get a sure. Let's do Argentina, for example. Okay, so if there's the mailing address is the same as the physical address, when you look up their phone number, so using John Smith as an example, because there's gonna be a million of them. When you scroll down here, it has all the addresses. It has the current and past addresses. So if the address you're looking for is on here, right? That's the address that is more likely to be them. But the current address is most likely their mailing address too. So if it's not through the parcel records, just right here will give you a good idea as far as another potential mailing address. Does that make sense? So the current or past addresses just through Family Tree now might be a good resource for you for the current address.
Okay.
It's not always gonna be right, but it'll give you a better shot than send it to like a blank or an address that no one's living there. Also, the email addresses are good one too, right? Just throw out an email, takes a minute. Bam, cool. Yes.
Just a comment on that. Even though, let's say, just for her not to get discouraged, even though if it's not the owner living there, because I have a rental property and my tenant, he still gives me the mail, like he knows my name or so I still get for that property, I still get the wholesaler's mailing and he still gives it to me. So it might still get to the owner.
Yeah. No,
thank you.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
You could always just ask them for the number, just like knock on the door and ask.
Yeah, if you're there, and I would, even if it looks vacant, if it looks really, really vacant, depending on your strategy, what you want to do, I would pull over and then like, oh yeah, this is a good property. I'm gonna get the address information. Then I'm gonna knock on the neighbors' doors.
Yeah, or you could just like break in and alarms will sound and then the owner will come. You'll have them there.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's it. yes, let's break in. Absolutely. I would lie if I said I never actually quote unquote broke into a house before, but I don't recommend people doing it.
I have found a trick to see if it's vacant. You can go see if there's
break in if someone's there. Is that what it is? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you can.
What was it? Good.
You can go to the gas line and there'll be a gas like lock on there from the city because they'll like put a lock on it to like shut it off.
If there's utilities around, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's not a bad way to check, especially if you're up there anyways, right? Okay. By the way, I did want to ask you guys, doing cold call, or excuse me, knocking on doors. I'm looking at putting a day together on a Saturday where we can do some door knocking. Who wants to go door knocking? Who wants to learn a little bit more about door knocking?
I do.
Yeah.
Me.
Okay, so we got like awesome.
I have the most brilliant way of door knocking that like occurred to me.
Is it the breaking in part or a different way?
No, I have multiple strategies. That's like my back pocket. So I have learned from an agent that he had postcards written up for his business, but he has a recipe on it. And so people aren't so likely to throw it away because it's got a recipe. And with the holidays coming up, you could print something like a family recipe on your postcard and then do the backdoor approach that you taught me, where you're just like, hey, I'm in the area. I'm looking for a home. And I like to say, yeah, the people over there were saying somebody this area was selling, but I don't see any signs. And so I'm hoping to catch them before they put out in the market. Do you know anybody that's going to sell their home? Be like, also, here's a recipe for the holidays that has like all your information on it, just like in a roundabout way, just being able to talk to them.
No, it's great. I like that. Putting a recipe on your card, that's I've seen a ton of realtors do that with calendars and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it goes well with the holidays.
The website, that personal marketing. So there is a really good website if you guys want to send stuff out to people. Use that one. That website is really good. Or if you just want some ideas too, so you can do your own. So just check that website. That is really good. They have recipes. They have other multiple ideas for sending the seasons and stuff like that. So that is what I use sometimes when I'm sending stuff. When I'm not in town and I don't have time, I use that website. So it's good.
What website?
And not that expensive. That personal marketing.
That personal marketing.
Yes.
Well, awesome. Do you want to put that in the chat? And maybe make a post about it too in the community.
Yes, I would put it in there. I use that one even for open houses, like with 5 days before the open house. And I have open houses that people show with that. So if you guys have property tours that you guys would like people to go, you guys can do that 5 days prior to that, and people will show the day of your property tours that you guys doing if you're not agent, that is another idea.
Nice. Personal marketing. Is it MCO? Personal marketing company.
But what's the cost on that?
Yes, it's that one.
Is that one? Okay.
Yes, it depends. It depends on how many, the volume of postcard that you want to send. And then I have like newsletters that I use that one. You only pay one time. Then if you have past clients, you can use that one too. They have programs like $25 for 5 years, contact your past clients. So you want people, the investor that you work with, you can, personalize the whole text that you want to send out for $25 for 5 years. They will be getting in touch with those people. I use more as a real estate. I'm new on getting the investing side. So I'm kind of using those tools that I already know as a realtor they can be using as an investor as well.
Sure. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. All right. What if, and thank you for sharing that. I love that stuff when we share those type of things, right? What if we did the Saturday on the 7th of December? We do some door knocking. How does that sound? So not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
What's the time? What's the best time to do that?
I'm kind of thinking like around 11 o'clock in the morning, to like 11 to 2 or something like that, or 11 to 4, however long you guys want to do it, right? For at least a couple hours a group, and then you want to keep on going. Awesome. What time works for you guys too? And the question is, and if you guys are wondering, when's the best time to knock on doors? My answer is the same as like, when's the best time to making phone calls? So there's a couple different rules of thought on that particular question. One, if you're knocking after 5 p.m., so 5 to 8, more people will be home and they will answer the door. So you will have more people answering the door between 5 and 8. Absolutely. For me, I like to do it in midday because I want to talk to people that don't have jobs, that are sitting home. And if you're knocking on Saturday, it's kind of irrelevant, right? Because most people are off the weekends. But if you're doing the weekdays, I want someone on the couch doing some job searching or whatever, and they're in trouble. Those are the people I want to talk to. And if someone has a job, everything's worked out, everything's fixed, it's great. I don't want to waste my time talking to that guy. So there's pros and cons to both, and you can like hit a neighborhood and then hit at the same neighborhood at a different time. And you'll talk to a completely different set of people. So you can go back a couple times the same neighborhood and talk to different people. So yeah, it's great. Okay. So I'll put it in the calendar. I can't do it that day. Oh, Kelly, come on. We'll send Brock if you can't make it, at least.
What neighborhood will we doing? Tooele or where?
We can do it somewhere in Salt Lake. Most of you guys are in Salt Lake area anyways. So I mean, okay, I'm open to if someone has a area they want to look into, we can go. It doesn't really matter the area. It really doesn't. And we just need like 1 or 2 notice of defaults in the area. And then if you go over the strategy that I put in the video, that's in the classroom. And we can go over it a little more detail then, but we're going to farm an area. We're going to do the backdoor approach.
Well, the reason I ask is it's a 3 to 5 hour drive, depending on where we're doing it.
That's fair. But it's going to be in the Salt Lake area if you're coming down.
Oh, I'll be down at least. I don't know, but Laura, are you going to be able to make it?
I don't know. That's also the word Christmas party, dear. So we'll see.
This is the middle of the day.
Yeah. But it's a 3-hour drive for her back as
Yeah,
well.
it's 3 hours
Yeah, I
down
don't
and 3 hours
care.
back for us.
Oh, okay.
We'll make it one way or another. We have dinner at 6, so we have to leave by 3 to 4, by 2 to 3.
The bishop will
We should be good.
understand. That's fine.
It's free food. I'm there.
Yeah. They don't need to late. It's fine.
And just keep in mind, if our goats had it done, then we have to give him back too.
Bring a goat.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fine.
2 weeks.
It's a
We'll be
great
good.
icebreaker. You're knocking on a door with a goat. Yeah, people are over
Oh, he is
Yeah,
cute
bring
as
a
can
goat.
be,
Answer
too,
the door.
so.
Okay.
He's gonna make some cute babies.
That's right. They'll answer, I promise.
Yes, farmers do deal with prostitution. We do.
What? Okay.
Well, because we have to rent a goat for our goats. So yes, there's 100% prostitution.
Anyways,
What?
moving right along. Good gracious. Oh.
What? Breeding goats. We don't have a buck. We have 4 does. So we called his pimp and he sent him over.
He's breeding. He's breeding.
Yeah,
goats.
it's animals. Not for human use, I hope.
That's a
Anyways,
whole
let's
different
okay,
video.
we're moving on. All right.
I was on the wrong call.
Yeah, I know, right? What other questions do we have, guys? Or should we talk about cold calling and some of the strategies?
So maybe I didn't understand something. So you're going to go to farm an area. So you know there's some NODs in that area. So you're knocking doors that are knowingly, some are not NODs. And there's the presentation to those specific doors are, do you just know somebody who wants to sell? Is that what the
kinda, right? I mean that in a nutshell, yes. Right? To put it as simple as possible. So what we're going to be doing here, I'll even try it. Let me kind of explain it a little bit. Right?
Sure.
Yeah, the question I have is, are you bringing up the NOD at all?
So the NOD is going to be the last person we're going to contact.
Oh, okay.
And what we'll do is, like, ideally, we find an area with multiple NODs. So we have, like, there's an NOD on this block, NOD on the other block. Great, because we're not going into massive, like, 20 people and knocking one door. Like good luck on that one. But we're max 2, maybe 3 if we're odd numbers per group of knocking. they may think that we're Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever. That's fine, right? But we're going to break up and ideally, so area that has a lot of notice of defaults, hopefully condensed would be helpful, but it doesn't have to be. And so what we're going to do, we're going to start knocking on doors that are adjacent to the notice of default, to our target door. Okay. And the pitch in general, the backdoor approach, and obviously you can tweak it, you can change, not even remotely go close to it, whatever you want to do, like you do you. But the initial script is going to be something like this. It's like, hey, Mr. Seller, or not Mr. Seller, hey, Mr. Homeowner, I'm with a company that actually is looking to buy 4 or 5 properties in this neighborhood. And before we make such a big investment, because if we come in, we buy, properties that maybe need a little TLC, we fix them up and sell them for value, and it actually raises the prices of homes like yours. So whenever you decide to sell, it's actually gonna be worth more. So you get it, we're here, we're asking for help beginning, right? So also there's a benefit for them by us doing what we're doing, right? So what we do before we invest into a neighborhood like this, we like to get the feeling of the neighborhood and ask a few questions. Is there any way, can you help me out just for a moment or two? So I'm asking for help. I'm not asking to sell anything. I'm not asking for any of that stuff at all, right? And so then you'll start asking the person, okay, so how long have you lived here? And whatever their answer is, you're like, oh, perfect. Awesome. I've been here 2 weeks. Oh, great. You're a new homeowner. What was your opinion on this new home? I've been here 10 years. Oh, great. You're the person that knows everything in this neighborhood. You're the perfect person I want to talk to. You're validating them. Okay. And then you start asking, so how do you feel about the neighborhood? What's the crime rate? Is it close? Is this close to your work? And another way we're finding out if they have a job or not, right? Gives us a little hint of their situation. How's the neighbors? Are the neighbors friendly? And all that stuff. And then and by the way, you give someone the opportunity to spill the tea on their neighbors, you'll be shocked at how much information they'll give you. It's insane. So then after they ask me a few questions, then then it goes down to, hey, so just this is how we work, and what we do is we actually help people that are kind of challenges to situations, people that are going through divorce, foreclosure, bankruptcy. Like I said, there was like 3 or 4 people that are actually going through bankruptcy or foreclosure in this neighborhood already. And so what we do is, like, because the bank takes over their house, they lose every penny of their equity. They got I know people that when they get foreclosure, it's on the record for like 7 to 10 years, and they can never like really qualify for a house until that's gone. And it's really a bummer deal. So what we do, we come in, we buy their house. They're getting a fair market offer. They're walking away with their equity, and we're able to come in and buy the house, fix it up, and it's a win-win scenario. You don't know anyone that might be going through a challenge or a life change right now, would you? And that's when they'll start spilling the tea, like, oh yeah, Bill Bob over here is getting divorced, and Sandra's getting divorced, or hey, yeah, I think I haven't seen John go to work in like 4 months. What they'll start spilling the tea. You should buy this guy's house. He's a dick. They're going to all sorts of stuff, right? You'd be shocked on the amount of the tea that they spill. And so let me do a whiteboard real quick. Does that make sense as far as like and we can have a written script too, right? So that's not too much of a hard thing.
I have a question on once you get a house that makes sense, you've run the comps, you got the seller that says, yes, I want to sell it to you. You've gotten them to sign, the paperwork goes to the title company.
Yes.
So the steps afterwards, like the in between the classes don't teach, and I've never seen before because I've worked with people that have done that without me being there. There's like this foggy gray area that I'm not sure.
Okay, so what's your question on it? So
that's
like,
what you do is just go to the
get
title
someone
company
under contract, and you send that contract to the title company.
Okay.
And where's the question on it? So I can.
So then afterwards, so then when you sell it to the next person, so the wholesaler, not the wholesaler, but the flipper or whatever, the person that buys it from you.
Yep.
Then you tell them how much, and then you go to the title company, and then they work out all those details.
Great question. So you have a purchase contract with the seller, right? Give that to the title company.
Okay.
Then let's say CJ and Lily, they're going to buy your deal.
Okay.
You would have an assignment contract between them and you. Okay, and
You
then
write that up, or does the title company do that?
well, that you fill it out and you get it signed through, like, so CJ and Lily, they're going to sign the paperwork, and then I'm going to send that to title company. So now the title company has a REPC and it has an assignment contract at the same time. So now that they know, okay, great, this is the REPC, and instead of Jared's company, it's in CJ and Lily's company.
So you write that for CJ, and then the title company just kind of is the person to make sure that the signing happens in front of like a notary or someone
No.
that's.
No, they just, you don't have, it doesn't have to be in a notary.
So why does the title company need to be involved when that purchase happens between you and the person buying it from you?
Because they transfer everything. So any purchase, you have to use well.
Okay.
You need to use a title company. Any purchase. So if you're doing it for yourself, if you're not even a wholesaler's involved, you found a deal and you want to flip it, and
so typically, Heather, you put out there that you're selling a contract, and if they're an experienced buyer in this sort of scenario, they'll give you the purchase contract. You sort of work out the details, through text and email or verbally, whatever. And once you agree on that, typically the buyer creates that contract, and then it's sent to you to agree to that. And then once that's in place, then you take that to the title. The title cannot write up a purchase contract. That's kind of against
So what if the buyer from you is newer and they're buying it from you and they're just hoping that you'll know what to do?
Well, then you might have just a general purchase contract that you have in place that you got from, perhaps, I don't know if Jared, you're providing anything like that.
Yeah.
And you can give that to the buyer, but you're going to want them to fill it out based on the terms that you've already verbally worked out. Yeah. It's really best to have the buyer create that because it's coming from them, and have them fill it out, and then you as the seller will then initial and put your signature on it, and then you give that to the title company. The title company is just looking for instructions, and that's all a purchase contract is instructions. Who's got the asset, who's got the money, and all the terms surrounding that.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfectly explained. That's why I love CJ.
That part in between that I've never been a part of, that I've done with somebody else that just kind of has done it without me, and so I've just didn't know that part.
So here's what I'll do, guys. I'll make a modular in the classroom, and it'll just be documents. And so I'll upload a Google link drive of each of the documents I personally use, with a caveat.
First, you'll need to connect
What
workspace to turn
were you freaking phone? With a caveat, like, so I've had this template pulled out with attorneys to give me the template, so it makes sense for me. But if you're going to use anything that I provide, especially in a legal or transaction, make sure that you verify it through your own real estate attorney that it is going to work, it is going to be legal for the purpose you want. Even if they charge you $50, $100, $500, whatever, it's money well spent. Trust me. So I'm willing to give out those documents, but you got to promise me that you're going to get it verified before you use it, because then it falls on the attorney that verified it and not on me. Does that make sense?
Also understand the terms, Jared. If
Yes.
you're gonna get into a contract, read the contract, so understand the terms.
100%, 100%. So I'll get that up today. I'll just be in the classroom, and then it'll be probably just before the week recordings, and so people can check it out. Okay. But again, make sure that you're verifying anything, like, because it's I don't want to get in legal trouble. You know what I mean? Because if anything happens, and it should be fine, but covering my assets, as in my aspirin. Okay, great. So great question. Does anyone else have any questions about that? Because I mean, it's great. I'm sure a lot of people have this similar question as Heather just is how the whole process works. It's two contracts, one you and the seller, and then you and the buyer, and you take those and give it to the title company. And at that point, it's pretty much smooth sailing, providing nothing else weird happens, right? You need to make sure everything's going good, and also making sure, like, once they sign, that the non-refundable is sent over to the title company. Okay. so that because they can sign the paperwork, but if they have not signed the non-refundable, it's not a done deal. And make that very clear. Like, we're gonna sign this, but then you need to send your 5,000 or whatever your non-refundable is to the company by end of business today.
And I've noticed a lot of wholesalers that are newer do not give an earnest money amount, or like not like 5,000, 10,000. So does most wholesalers that are like more proficient and like do it like more, they set that?
Yeah, it does show if they're asking for non-refundable, it does show that they're new and they're not quite too sure. So when I first started out, I didn't have non-refundable. I learned the hard way why you want a non-refundable.
Tell me.
So I'll use an example. I had a deal. It was in Magna. It was a pretty good deal. So people were shouting, "Hey, I want this deal!" Da, da, da. And I had this guy come in and say, "Hey, listen, I want this deal. Send me the deal. It's done. I'm gonna pay you exactly what you want." I'm like, "Okay, cool, man, awesome." So and people were reaching me out about this deal. So I'd say, "Hey, I found a buyer. Thanks, man. I'll let you know if anything changes." And so I was turning people down, and I sent over the assignment agreement. It's like, "Hey, listen, you gotta send your deposit," or like, because I was asking for the non-refundable, but I was very loose about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, send in the earnest money, and we're good to go. Sign the papers. They never signed the papers, by the way. I kept like, I'm waiting for there's always some BS story. Oh, my partner, I'm waiting on him to sign this or do this, da da da. And I kept on nagging him, and it was like they basically wasted 5 days of my 10 days to close. And I had like, by the time all said and done, because when I sent out the agreement and then finally got hold of these guys, they're like, "You know what? We couldn't get the funding together. We're not going to be able to close on this deal." And it's like, they didn't sign anything, and they didn't send any earnest money. So I couldn't hold them accountable to anything. I told them, like, "Hey, listen, man, you wasted this time. I'm going to have a really hard time finding a buyer. I'm removing you from my buyers list." And then he started quoting scriptures and how forgiveness. And I was like, and it really pissed me off, to be honest. I'm like, yeah, I can forgive you, but it doesn't mean I have to do business with you ever again. That's not what that scripture means. But
So without doing this, you're actually giving them license to screw with your deal.
yes, 100%. And the thing is with wholesaling, you don't, time is very, very urgent, because a lot of times if we don't close by a certain date, that foreclosure is going through, that auction's happening. Whatever the urgency is, because we're looking for people that have urgency. If they don't have urgency, it's not impossible, but it's a bigger challenge to get the price we need and want to make this deal work, right? So so in that scenario, I had like 3 days to get out. So I had to like reach out to people like, "Hey, listen, my buyer, he dropped out, blah, blah, blah. Here's this." At least if that guy would have paid the earnest money, and then it would have been like, okay, cool. I mean, worst case scenario, I got that. And that's why, like, I had people like ask before, like, why is the earnest money? Why are you guys asking for the earnest money? Well, it's because it took time and energy to find that deal, right? Negotiate it. And if the buyer doesn't perform, then we're out. We're out of that. And also, it hurts the seller, because the seller's in a tough time, and they thought that Heather or CJ or Joshua was going to come in and save the day, and now like they can't. It really hurts the seller more than anyone else, because like, sure, we didn't make, if we lose the deal, okay, whatever, we didn't have a deal before and we don't have another deal, okay, so we didn't really change or lose anything. However, that seller, now they have a foreclosure on their record. Now they are in a terrible situation. So it's not just to protect your interest, which it is, but it's also protect your relationships, your reputation, which is huge, and the sellers. The seller needs to. There's a reason why we're doing this, right? We want to make money, but we can also need help people at the same time.
Gotcha.
And by doing this, and you're also saying people asking why do you have this? Why do you have that? It's kind of filtering them, correct?
Well, yeah,
because you don't want people that don't want to do this, because that they behind the curtain.
Yep.
They know they can't perform, but they don't want to say it.
Exactly. Well, and the thing is, like, when people are talking to me, and I get the feel that this is like the first time that they've dealt with a wholesaler, because you get agents or whatever that like, oh, I maybe have a client. Okay, cool, awesome. I just make sure, like, explain to them, like, so just so you know, when you guys put an offer, there is a non-refundable that once it's accepted, you have 24 hours to deposit that into the title company. and you know, you need to close at this date, da, 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 and this is kind of how it works. And so like, oh, so there's no due diligence time? Like any due diligence needs to be done before you make your offer. Oh, but you're getting offers right now. Yes, I am. So like with any other wholesaling, it's the same as any other wholesale deal. And when you're talking about stuff that may be like challenging for certain people, like blame the industry, which is true. Blame the market. When I'm talking to a seller and I can't offer as much as they want because I think it's worth $1 billion. Like, I'm like, yeah, I would love to give you $1 million for this property, but unfortunately, like we're at the mercy of the market, and most that the market could get for this particular house after everything's fixed is that 500,000. So that's why I have to give you this 400 because all the problems in me that like I'm making the market the problem, not because I want to get a better deal. I'm making it like, yeah, I get it's frustrating that you have to move fast, and it's the same with any wholesale deal, any wholesaler, big or small. There is a time frame because the seller has to close a certain time, and da 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 da. So you just point the market, the industry as the bad guy, and then now instead of it's you versus me, it's a we. We are up against the standard. What can we do to fix it? Like you want more time due diligence? Okay, cool. Once you put your I'm accepting offers until Wednesday. Do you want to go take a look at it, bring your contractor in on Tuesday, and then you have plenty of time to run your numbers? That makes sense. So now it's a we fixing the problem. And so when people are asking me, I always make sure to have explain to them exactly what this process is, because it's really annoying when someone gives you an offer, and if it's a decent offer, and then they're like shocked at like the non-refundable, or they're shocked at like how the whole process kind of works, right?
Does that non-refundable go towards the price of buying it?
It does. Good, great question, because a lot of people are asked the same question. So glad you asked, Heather. So yeah, so let's just,
the question about the non-refundable came into my mind is because I've worked with flippers that are like, I don't pay that, I won't pay that when I first got started. And so now I'm like conflicted about whether I should or shouldn't, or like debate it.
So what? Sorry, what?
Wholesaler time, like now I'm working with you as a wholesaler. My focus was short-term rentals, as you know. For the longest time, that was what I was doing. And when I sold them, now I'm switching gears.
Yeah. Can I back? So let me back you up a little bit, Heather. So what do you mean that they wouldn't do, like the wholesaler wouldn't pay the non? Or what do you mean by that?
No, the fixer, like people that I've like talked to do deals with, they were like, no, I don't pay that.
You know what the perfect solution to that is?
What?
If they don't want to pay the non-refundable, like, oh, then yeah, this deal's not for you then.
Yeah. No, I was trying to get flicks and flips with people in our community, and they were like, I've just got conflicting answers to that. Like some people were like, no, I won't do that. And some people were like, yeah, well, obviously. So I've just gotten conflicting.
Well, people, I mean, there's people I'm sure that don't charge the non-refundables that you're referring to.
No, flipper, people that were trying to find a fix and flip.
Right. So, and they don't want to pay the non-refundable.
I've gotten conflicting stories about that.
Okay. So it doesn't matter about what, so it doesn't matter if they bought a wholesale deal from their buddy or for someone else that they didn't charge non-refundable. That doesn't matter, because your business, you're going to charge non-refundable. It's going to protect you. So it's just like a fact of matter is how you take it. Like, and I'm sure you get this, right? So someone's like, I want this deal, but I'm not going to pay the 5,000. Like, then okay, then this, I'm not going to sign the contract to you if you're not willing to pay that. That's just part of the. That's how I do business.
I've never heard it from a wholesaler. Why is better explained, I guess. Now
and sometimes it's good to explain, just like what how I put that example. Like, if it costs me time and money to find this transaction, and if the buyer can't perform, it puts me in a bad spot. And then also it really hurts the seller because we're not able to close on the time frame that we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
And it does show how serious they are. Exactly.
I've just gotten conflicting stories about flippers and why they won't pay, and then it's good.
Right. And it doesn't. Yeah, you're gonna hear conflicting stories all the time, but you're gonna run your business the way you need to run the business. So regardless of whatever anyone else is doing, and even if me strongly suggesting to charge a non-refundable, if you don't want to do that, that's fine too, right? So the same line, whatever makes sense for you and how you want to run your business, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. And if they hear conflicting stories, like, okay, they go talk to them. Maybe they can find you a deal. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just be detached to the result. Like, I'm not here. This is non-negotiable. And by the way, guys, how you allow your sellers to act / treat you you are training them what you accept. So if you allow them, like, hey, I want to, are we negotiable the price point? Are we, can I just, you know, if they constantly be able to say, hey, I want this deal, but non-refundable, I'm okay if they give me excuses and they give it to me 10 days later or whatever. I'm going to train them I'm training them how to act. If I'm firm and like, listen, yeah, 24 hours to put the non-refundable, and if I don't change that, maybe the first time they're going to throw a little grief about it, but the next time and the third time and the fifth time, like, oh yeah, gotcha. They're going to do it before you even say anything because you trained them how they know that you can't mess with Jared or mess with Heather or Siege or whatever because this is how it is, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, CJ and Lily are perfect. They bought multiple deals from me, and they get it. Like as soon as the numbers make sense for them and they're ready to go, like that non-refundable in that they understand. I think they're just awesome just in general, but they get it. This is how I want to do business. They want to do the deal, so they'll gotcha. We sent in that money to the title company. Do you want the copy of the receipt or whatever? And like, okay, cool, awesome, great. And it gets to a point where I wouldn't even need a like, okay, cool, I got you guys, I trust you. You know, those kind of things because we understand how each other works. I understand how they work and what they're looking for because I sent them deals and it didn't make sense for them. Mm-hmm. Like that's fine. Like not every deal is a deal for everybody, and that's my line. I tell a lot of people that like all the time. Like,
do you accept non-refundable from multiple different people, or just the ones that you're like, okay, this is going to be for you, you get it. Do you accept it for multiple people?
Once money is paid, it's theirs. Okay. You can't because if they're paying you money, then if they've signed the paperwork, like I do it like at the same time. So they're signing the paperwork and then they send the funds like that same day.
Thank you.
Jared, I had a question. So from
Yes.
that non-refundable, that is basically for the sellers and for part of that is for yourself, or is the whole thing for the seller? So how that work?
Great. So the non-refundable is part of the wholesale fee, right? And if you have earnest money, it covers the earnest money too, right? Whatever that is, right? So if my wholesale fee, like my minimum, and I strongly here, I'm gonna stop sharing because we may or may not get to this part, which is fine.
I hope this is valuable for everybody. I hope that.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think it's absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Share. Okay, what was the question again? My brain went flickered for a second. What was the question you just asked about the?
If it was from the seller.
Oh yes, that's right. Where the money comes from.
Yeah.
So where the money goes. If
yeah, where the money goes.
If the deal, if your wholesale fee is not minimum $10,000, I wouldn't even do it. So if now try to get 15, 20, 30, 40. If the numbers make sense, if you negotiate a good enough deal and it still leaves plenty of meat in the bones for your flipper, awesome. Get 18, 20. Me and our deal we got was 18, right? Yeah. And so whatever makes sense, right? For that transaction, that deal, cool. But if you're not going to make 10, you need to renegotiate it so you would at least make that 10. Whether the buyer's paying more or that you get a price reduction, whatever it is, because if you're going to do all that work, it's just a change of mindset. Like if I'm doing 10, it's not worth my time. So to answer that question, I know it was a roundabout way, but if my wholesale fee is 10, that 5 is going to go towards that wholesale fee. And I'm putting that in towards the price. So for example, if I get it under contract for 100 and I send it out there as the starting suggesting price to be 110 and the non-refundable is 5,000, if they send it off for 110 and I accept it, then that 5 goes to the title company and then after the closing, they just need to bring 105 plus closing costs to the table because they already paid the 5 for the 110. That makes sense. So that their non-refundable goes towards the purchase price. That you're also saying the purchase price is also including your wholesale fee, right? Because I've have under contract for 100, and I'm as I do my email blast, I'm putting out there for 110. Right.
Question.
So yes.
You hear me?
Yeah, but if it doesn't go through.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's my question. If it doesn't go through,
Mhm.
then you keep the earnest money. And
Correct.
I would say that I would say you also have some earnest money for the seller, which is lower
Yes.
than you. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So my earnest money typically for like, unless if it's on the market, it's on the MLS dealing with agents, it's a little bit higher, and because that's just the standard. But honestly, I don't bring up earnest money at all. I'll usually put like $500. I've put $1 there before. You need something there because if you need consideration. But I put in $1, put $500, and I'll be honest with you, and then I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you how I know someone does this. I'm not telling anyone to do this, but especially if it's off market, I put down $500 on the earnest money, and I send it to the title company, and unless the seller wants to see a receipt about the earnest money, I I know someone that doesn't even send the earnest money unless they ask for it. So the person that I know hasn't really paid earnest money out of the 150 transactions done. Really, really parallel to me. Weird. Um, Maybe like a handful of times, like 10, 20 max. Just didn't need to. If they ask for it, sure, absolutely. And I don't want to be in a spot where I'm putting like I want to put down certain earnest money and I can't swing it. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to put $2,000, hoping they don't say anything, right? They don't ask for it because I don't have the $2,000. Like, okay, I'm gonna put $500. Maybe it's a little. I got $500 in my bank account. That's fine. Put $100 if that's all you can really swing at the time. That's fine.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead, Lily.
So I understand. Well, let me comment on a question. I understand wholesaling is usually to sell it to an investor. It will be better if you sell it to a savvy investor, not a newie, because a new investor, they put 5K and they only had one day or the time you show the property, the 2 hours to do the inspection, but they don't know anything else. And after that, they realize it's not for them, right? So I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, that the wholesaling will be targeting that the wholesalers will be targeted should be targeting the fix and flippers that know what they're doing, right?
Yes.
And number two, my question is, oh, let's say I buy a property from you, okay, and I consider myself a medium investor. So let's say, Jared, I paid my 5K, non-refundable, but I realized the property after doing my heavy inspection, the numbers are not gonna work. Is there a way we can renegotiate, or you can talk to the seller to see if we can negotiate the price? Is that doable?
100%. So that's definitely doable. So especially if you're buying from another wholesaler, it never hurts to ask, right? So because it does happen. Sometimes it's like, there was a scenario where there was a house and I was the wholesaler and I was wholesaling it, and it was Ogden, and the guy paid Caleb. He paid $5,000. He's not part of the community yet. I'm still working on him. He paid the $5,000 non-refundable, and then after that he did do a meth test and it did come up positive and this is after the fact. It's before it closed, and he came and talked to me, man. Like, hey, listen, I'm really under the gun. I'm hurting here. That meth test really, really hurt. And so I just took a little bit less. I think I took like 2,000 or 3,000 less on my wholesale fee, just because I wanted to keep that relationship, because he's a great buyer in Ogden. And so he's bought quite a few of my deals. So it's like, yeah, sure, no problem. We can have that negotiation. And especially what Lily said, even still, like in that scenario, I can go back and talk to the seller and say, hey, this is the price. Okay, back up a little bit. So change the scenario. Let's say Lily, she paid the 5,000. She entered due diligence. She really needs another $20,000 haircut to make this thing really work for her. I can still go back to the seller, knowing the price point, which is very, very helpful. Knowing the price point, I can renegotiate with the seller. Hey, look, because I'm sure she found that maybe there was mold and we weren't planning on it or whatever. I can go back and say, hey, Mr. Seller, because there's mold, it's going to cost us this. We really need a big discount. And let's just say I get a $30,000 discount from him, but Lily only asked for 20. What did that just do to my wholesale fee? Anybody?
It went up.
Yeah. So if we had it under contract for 100 and Lily really needed it, because because the wholesale fee was 10. She really needed it at 90, right? She needed 20,000 in haircut. So if I got that $20,000 haircut or 30,000, then okay, cool, great. So you wanted to buy at 90, great, we can do that. And then, but I have it on contract for 70. Does that make sense? So like you renegotiating is great. And even if like, let's say that Lily, and here's another thing too. So as a flipper, let's say I couldn't get the haircut, I couldn't get price reduction. The seller like, that's the, I owe too much. That's the lowest I possibly can. I'm walking with nothing. From the flipper, it's like, okay, if this deal's going to lose money, I would rather lose 5,000 upfront than lose 50,000 6 months from now. So obviously I don't, and Lily can have a conversation with me, and then especially with that relationship, like, you know what, this, I'm not, I'll give you 2,000 back and keep them 3 or something like that. I mean, normally I try to keep it, but depending on the relationships, you can do what you want to do. You know, don't be a pushover at the same time, right? So I would recommend mostly like, yeah, you can't perform, sorry, that non-refundable it's non-refundable for a reason.
Jared,
Yes.
I want to say something real quick. Remember when you told me the duplex? So
Yes.
at that time, I was okay doing houses 1950 and up, but that house was built in 1912. So I put my 5,000 non-refundable, and we go through the inspection. I got so scared. Oh my God, this house is gonna collapse. It's so old. And
It was bad, guys. It was bad.
and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna lose my 5,000 now, and I'm just let it go. I don't care. It's too much for me. And I knew God was kind of a learning. But the thing is, we got scared when we don't know. And we don't supposed to know everything if you have the context. So that at that time, I remember I called a few friends that already deal with last century houses, and they said, "Clearly not a problem. Do this, and that, and that will solve." I'm glad I opened my mind. Until now, we just kept the duplex, and it's a great opportunity that we have right now. So just that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think like after all said and done, when you're done, like you refied it and you had like 100,000 equity or something like that. Like that was like almost from right away.
Well, we buy the seller finance for guys you don't know. So Jared really did a good negotiation, and we bought it. I don't remember how much we bought it, but we did all the rehab. We refinanced it. We paid off all of everyone, and we well, yeah, and we still work. It is infinite because there's no money in, and we're still having cash flow every month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's phenomenal. Yeah. So, I mean, if it's just fear that's kind of stopping you from doing the deal, then maybe just go back to the numbers and see if it really makes sense for you and everything, right? So yeah, I love it. So, another cool thing is, let's just say that as a wholesaler, if people are like they're like, you know what, I can't give you the price you're asking for. You know, it just doesn't make sense for it. Always ask like, hey, what would make sense for you to buy this property at? Well, I mean, it's a lot lower than you're thinking. Like, yeah, I mean, what would make sense if we were able to negotiate the seller today, just so I know what would make sense for you. Like, yeah, if we had it at this price at 250, then yeah, I would be able to close in it right away. Which is really good information to know, because if I have to go back, because the market's the best teacher in the world. If I send out a deal and no one's wanting it, no one's taking it, is it really a deal? Probably not. Right? Sometimes the deals are like very, I mean, like only like a very specific buyer would want it, things like that. So it's kind of new, but still, most of the time it's because it's not a great deal. But if I know that Lily's going to take this deal at 250, like she would be happy with that, or Carla's going to take it at 260, and I have it under contract for 280 or something, I can go back to the seller now, because now that I know the price that they would take it, I can negotiate to that price and leave myself a wholesale fee or whatever it needs, right? Because I've gone back and like let them know, like, this is, we're doing our due diligence. Comparables are just not coming up to what we originally thought. I'm gonna have to cancel this contract unless we can get a certain price because of X, Y, and Z. And so you can negotiate whatever that may meet. You know, if it's a seller financing, maybe higher, you do whatever, right? But you change it so they have, you can. It's easier to negotiate, especially when you know the price that someone is willing to pay for it, right? And you might end up with a better deal than you originally had. Does that make sense? So always ask your buyers, and ideally you do want experienced buyers, because you're gonna deal with headaches regardless. It's just depending what kind of headaches you want to deal with. Like in Jay Massey in Jay Massey when he talked in the Investor ID, right? If you don't mind kind of walking people through the deals, but you have to do a lot of kind of like hand holding, and there's not that much hand holding once they actually like to sign this paper, send the 5,000. If you're not comfortable, make sure you do your diligence first. And so if you get newer investors, make sure that they understand it and that they're happy with it. You want to make sure you don't want anyone to lose money in your deals. It's not ideal, but they're grown adults and they need to make their own decisions how they want to do it, right? So if it's a deal that makes sense for you, throw it out there. Does that make sense? I know we went from door knocking to just wholesaling just in general, which is really good. I'm kind of glad we talked about this. It's a good subject. People kind of need to know the whole.
Really helpful.
Yeah, clarity and process. Exactly. So that's good.
Yeah, everything you're talking about, the relationship between a wholesaler and his buyers and vice versa. We've had deals where we've had consideration for being accepted, a large part just because of relationship and a reputation for following through and closing. And whereas perhaps the other contracts maybe had a higher purchase price, but what is the purchase price if the buyer flakes out, right? So if you've got a buyer, and we're talking about ourselves now, who follows through and is, that sells a lot to a wholesale, and should to you, with your buyers. You pay attention to those who work well.
And the nail in the head, CJ, and you'll get to a point like depending on the transaction and what, like I know CJ and Lily, they are seller financing deals. That's like they eat them up, right? They love them. So there's times where like I'll send them, like this last one I did in Ogden, I sent it to them before I sent it to anyone. Like, hey guys, by the way, here's the deal I'm sending out tomorrow. Take a look, let me know what you think. And so if I know CJ and Lily are just going to pick it up, then I don't need to worry about sending out the deal to everyone. So I know that because we built that relationship. And so as you're doing transactions and deals, like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna this fits the buy box of this seller that bought 3 deals from me already. I'm just gonna give him a call and say, hey, this is what I got. I haven't sent it out yet. It also makes them feel kind of special. So it's like, oh, cool. They almost want to make it work if they can. So they're going to work on it harder than they would if you never even made that call. Does that make sense? Because it's like, oh, cool. Like I got special treatment. That's kind of cool. They may do a little bit more research on it before they say no or yes on it, right? Before they say no or pass or whatever. Because they want to see if they can make it work, right? Does that make sense? Okay. Phenomenal. All right. What other questions do we have? We're almost 10 minutes over, so I gotta run into the phone call here in a second.
I run into deals where the seller's trying to stay there for a month after we sign.
Yes.
What do you do in that case when on the wholesaler side?
I'm okay with doing a closing and have them stay longer. Because the thing is, also think of the buyer. You always want to you always put everything in context of the flipper, the buyers. Do you want a deal where you can buy it today, but you can't get into the property and start flipping it? Because time is money, right? I can't flip it for another 30 days because this guy's going to be in there for X amount of time. So one, I need to make sure that it's going to be like, if that's what they need, I want a bigger reduction in price to justify it, because it's going to cost the flipper an extra $5,000 for that 1 month that they can't do anything. So I want this discount. And if it's a deal maker, to give them some extra time, like to get some cash. But let's just say that their equity is like 30,000, just an example. What you do is you put in the contract is like, okay, $15,000 once it's closed, you're getting paid $15,000. The other half is going to be held in escrow, and that $15,000 will not be paid to you until you give possession to the property. And every day after those 30 days that you agreed upon, every day after those 30 days, a $250 deduction of that money will be forfeited to the seller or to the buyer. So every day that they're past those 30 days, and then I'll even do like after 15 days of them not exiting, they forfeit the entire 15,000 or whatever that amount is. That way, because that 15,000 one can help with some of the holding costs, but it's going to cover the cost for the evictions. So you want it, and it depends on the situations. Maybe they're not getting a ton of equity. You know, maybe like, hey, I'm gonna hold all the equity or however much it is, but put in enough where it's going to cover the flipper's holding costs for the months and also any eviction costs. Because that way, like, okay, I mean, I can get this deal. He got a bigger discount because they're staying and they're holding $30,000 or 20, 15, whatever the amount is, right? So it kind of covers if they don't get out in 15 days after, I'm getting the whole thing that the buyer does, right? So always make sure that there's some sort of hold of funds if you do possession after, because doing you'd have to do a regular eviction. You can't just like show up with some muscle and kick them off, right? So yeah.
Jared,
Yes.
now I have it really clear. Now I was getting confused because we're talking about two earnest money here. We're talking the earnest money that I do the contract with the seller directly when I'm getting the wholesale deal. That is the earnest money that I'm putting with my contract with that seller. But then the other earnest money is whoever that not refundable is from the buyers that I'm selling those deals. So I can keep all those. If they doesn't go through, I keep that one, because then I move to the next buyer, and then the next buyer go through the process. They will go through the end of the total purchase price for that buyer. But then if they fall through, then I keep the other 5,000, whatever is how many times I have to do it. But at the end, I'm responsible for the earnest money that I told the seller that I will give in my contract. Now I understand.
So if you had $1,000 on the earnest money with the seller, and then you got the 5,000 non-refundable, if you don't perform, then yeah, the seller would take 1,000 and you would take the 4, and that because you didn't perform according to the contract. That's the results, right? But if let's say Lily and CJ, they get the 5,000, they couldn't perform on the transaction, then I got to keep the 5,000. But then Carla comes in, she saves the day. She's like, yeah, I want to do this deal. Here's my non-refundable. I'm ready to close, and she performs. And I was gonna make 15 with her, but then I made another 5,000 because Lily and CJ didn't they backed out. So it's almost like, gee, I hope a ton of people put in the 5,000 then back out all the time. But you know, that's not really good for anybody. I mean, you
I
turn
understand.
you make more money,
So
but
that
still.
is good. That was my whole question.
Can I use Lily's $3,000?
Can you use Lily's $3,000?
If I know Lily didn't perform, can I use Lily's $5,000?
Oh sure, yeah, I'm sure she'll give it to you. Yeah, just send her your Venmo. I'm sure she'll shoot it over for you. Okay, guys, awesome. Well, this is good. I think it was good clarifying too, and figuring out what the main process of just wholesaling. We probably should have this conversation earlier, so that's good. Any other questions about the wholesaling process, and we'll call this a day. No, we're good. Okay.
Nope, that was good.
Awesome, guys. Well, I love it. I appreciate it. The really good questions, good discussion, and so let's get at it.
Jared, are you going to be able to show us
some
some examples of contracts, the way you write down all those instructions, and the way you do the buyer's assignment line as well?
What do you mean buyer's assignment line?
Yeah, how you gonna as a buyer? I mean, how do you manage the buyer's name on the contract?
So I don't. My contract is assignable, but then there's another contract where between you, the wholesaler, and the buyer, which assigns it over, and you give those two pieces of paper or those documents to the title company, and they do their thing.
It means the assignment contract.
Right. Yeah. So there's assignment contract. Yes. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. I mean, once you put together the contract with the seller, I mean Jared and the seller, and then Jared and the buyer. Right? Now we have two contracts.
No, well, yes, there's two contracts. Right? Yeah. So the wholesaler with the seller, and then the wholesaler with the buyer. Yes, there's been two contracts. One's the purchase, the REPC, and the other one's going to be the assignment contract. And depending if you're using a Utah REPC or not, it's going to vary on what kind of assignment contract you're going to be doing. So if like agents, you have to use the Utah REPCs and all the Utah contracts. So for example, my REPC that I use, 'cause I'm not an agent, it is transferable, but the Utah REPC that the agent has to use, the traditional REPC, is non-transferable, like section 9.2 or 0.3. It says right in there, non-refundable or non-transferable. So you would have to use an addendum. It's like transfer of interest addendum. And it shows like, and that's a little more transparent because like the seller has to sign it, you have to sign it, and the buyer has to sign it. And it does include like your purchase, like how much your wholesale fee is. So everyone's kind of sees that too, which as long as you're prepping the seller, like that shouldn't matter. I mean, I've never had any challenge with that. I've done that, 80 times when I was an agent. I've never had any, not once did I ever do the challenge with the seller not wanting to sign the transfer of interest because I prepped them first. Because when you're talking to the seller, before you even sign any agreement, like, hey, listen, I work with partners because I don't really have 300,000 in my back pocket to buy this property. It's not how that works. I usually get partners and then they bring the funds and then so I'm going to need access to your property over the next, until we close, whether that's through like an appointment base or like a key and lockbox if it's vacant kind of scenario, whatever makes sense in that situation. And like I'm gonna have my contractors and my potential partners come in and kind of take a look and see kind of where they're at and who's going to partner with me and make this thing work. And so by the time like, okay, cool, I have a buyer, I'll go to the seller. Hey, look, so my friend Carla, my partner, she loved this deal so much, she wanted to do the deal all by herself. So she's going to buy me out. So nothing's going to change for you as the seller, but I just got to fill out another form. She's buying me out of the deal, but she's going to close and everything's going to be fine. And so, okay, great. So like nothing changes for me as a seller. So I just got to fill out this form. Awesome. So I set it up where they know people are going to come in and they know I'm going to contractors, potential partners, it's just true. Like if I'm assigning a contract, we're in a partnership for that deal, for that transaction. I'm not lying. If they ask like, hey, oh, you're wholesaling this? Yes, exactly right. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to lie to them. But I'm not going to volunteer information because if they Google and they talk to the broke uncle, then it's really going to scare them, because they don't understand what they don't know. So I don't volunteer their information, but I will give a general idea. I'll explain what I'm doing. Does that make sense? So yeah, so depending on what reps you're filling out is going to depend on the assignment agreement that you're gonna have, and all that goes to the title company, and then they do their thing. That's your question, Joel? But I got to run. I got another phone call here.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
and more questions. Let's keep the conversation going. Feel free to we'll make a post and start. We can put in questions about this and in the community. So I love it. Okay, awesome guys. Appreciate you. Great back and forth. I appreciate the engagement. Make sure to put in like your MMAs, guys, and love it. Okay, appreciate you.